Hey, welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It's your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. What a show we have for you today. I'm Johnny Venerable. He is my co-host, Brack, in Studio K. Damon, Dawg, producer extraordinaire. Behind the mic, we're going to be joined by NFL analyst ALLCITY, our guy, Brian Baldy, later in the show. Hear from Jonathan Gannon, among others, and a couple interesting nuggets across the NFL landscape that may or may not impact the Arizona Cardinals and their woeful pass rush.
Wow.
But first, Bo, how you doing, my friend?
Johnny just wants to spike the football right out of the gates, right at the opening kick. You just want to take the football and spike it in the end zone just because the unrest going on in Jersey between the Jets and Haason Reddick. Could it be a reunion? We're definitely going to get into that. Something this podcast hasn't been on the same page about, but Johnny's excited, and also to reconnect with Baldy, to really find out who jumped off the tape for the Cardinals in their preseason opener. We'll get into all of that.
Yeah, I also have a little cutie trade proposal for the New York Jets that we're going to dive into. Damon, Dawg, you let me know when that cutie little proposal is ready to go, because I think it's going to be an offer the New York Jets can't refuse based on what's happening. And what is happening, Haason Reddick, via numerous outlets, including Jordan Schultz, friend of this program, he wants out of New York. He's fed up with the Jets and their miscommunication. Both parties have said the other party has straight up lied, but via Jordan Schultz, Haason Reddick, who was acquired for a conditional third-round pick this offseason, was told by the Jets that they would be negotiating on a new contract. The Jets offered him one initially. He said no. That was before the trade went through back in March. The Jets said, we're going to trade for you anyway. And Haason assumed, yeah, let's continue on with these negotiations. They have not negotiated in almost 6 months, according to Schultz. So now it comes out today that Haason Reddick's like, I'm done with the Jets. I want a new team. I want a new deal. And I would say this is DEFCON 5 embarrassing for the Jets. And while I believe they want to try to save face, I don't care what they say publicly. And we're going to hear from Joe Douglas, the GM that could be fired in 6 months anyway. The Jets privately want a lifeline. And could that lifeline be Monti Ossenfort, Brack?
It's very intriguing to me that you see it's like LeBron on one of the boats in the opening ceremonies, but instead of the American flag, it's a red flag, and they're just waving it. As far as Haason Reddick at 29 years old, you view the dysfunction going on with gangrene as opportunity to fill the Arizona Cardinals' need at pass rush, which is very real. The need is very real. I don't disagree. And Haason Reddick obviously is on his resume the season playing under Jonathan Gannon, his best in the NFL. But I don't think that he is exempt from criticism in this entire ordeal, from forcing his way out of Philly to going to the Jets and contract negotiations stalling out. It's strange. And when you've got a team where the vibes with the Cardinals that are at an all-time high, right, with going into year 2 under Gannon and crew, like, would you just pivot to somebody who is kind of going against the grain as far as your culture, where it's just like, I am not playing without a new deal? Just doesn't match up. That's the unfortunate truth, in my opinion.
Well, this is a guy who has had 4 consecutive double-digit sack seasons, including 16 for your now head coach. Those are all good things. Those are things that the Cardinals, frankly, do not possess. I think the Cardinals, unlike the other 30 teams that could be interested, are in an advantageous position because they have an infrastructure here. Everybody is familiar with the kind of player and person Haason Reddick is. That's why, I don't take it seriously, and I love our boy Greg Braggs at CHGO, and he's given the Ryan Poles gif of, I'm going to get him on the phone, blah, blah, blah. The Bears have no allegiance or ties to somebody like Haason Reddick. The Bears are giving out contracts to potentially Keenan Allen, Montez. They've done that. The Arizona Cardinals are in a unique position where Michael Bidwell has dealt with Haason Reddick, by all accounts, stand-up human being while he was here. Numerous people in the front office, some remaining scouts, and then, of course, your head coach can vouch for him. Your head coach unlocked him. And right now, your head coach is a big reason why, indirectly, that he's asking for more money because he was put in a position to be successful. He was the most dominant defensive player en route to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. You watch him destroy Brock Purdy. You watched him basically destroy Daniel Jones. I mean, the video where we're going to effing gut these guys from JG. I mean, if that's Gannon saying it, then Haason Reddick was the knife to do the gutting. And so the Arizona Cardinals are now in a position to say, you know what? Howie Roseman is not in between us and Haason Reddick anymore, because I fully believe, and I more or less have this source, that the Cardinals would have been interested in Haason Reddick had he not been a Philadelphia Eagle. Had those conversations. Now you need to make the Jets have those conversations with you again. You need to put the Jets in a position where, they're putting out, let's see the statement. Let's see this, bumble hell statement, this minor league statement from Joe Douglas, who, again, could very well be fired. Damon, Dawg, do we have the statement? Or am I just, here it is. The Jets statement. We have informed Haason that we will not trade him. Sure, Jan, that he's expected to be here with his teammates and that he will continue to be fined by the CBA if he does not report. Since the trade discussions back in March, we've made it clear, direct, and consistent with our position. Our focus will remain on the guys we have here as we prepare for the regular season. And again, they put out some shill statement through the media today, like, we're not going to placate to guys who have never been here. But you did that with Aaron Rodgers. You consistently do that. No one takes anything you say seriously. So I know there are people that saw that statement. They're like, well, the Jets aren't trading them. Don't lie to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. Jet fans, Cardinal fans, NFL fans, that statement means nothing. Blow your nose with it. It's not real. It's not real life. The Jets would have a mulligan on this situation if they want to. And the Arizona Cardinals are here potentially to help them get that mulligan and save face publicly.
I just think, like, you have this young, locker room, right? Where, everything is trending in the right direction and people are bought in. And then you're going to say, you know what? Just because you're productive in this league, we're willing to turn a blind eye to how you've conducted yourself in this very public negotiation and say, this is okay. This is okay because you perform well under Jonathan Gannon. We drafted you into this organization. You behave very well here. But in this instance, like, we're willing to, we don't care. Like, we're going to come over. We're going to save the Jets. They're going to take a net loss on this, and we're going to be the beneficiary from their malpractice. Like, I get that. Like, I get that wanting to get a productive player at the biggest glaring need on this roster. But I don't know if the organization is wants to set that precedent. I think it's a dangerous one.
I think it's a unique situation, again, where the Cardinals were caught in a position in which they did not invest enough at pass rush. And we're going to talk about Xavier Thomas later, and I'm very excited for Xavier Thomas, what we saw Saturday. But I don't want to hear people say, like, that's a viable option for 2024.
Nobody's
like, as the guy. I don't want to have those conversations. That's irresponsible. I'm trying to be irresponsible.
Whoa.
It's irresponsible to put the pass rush on the back of a fifth round rookie. I don't want to do that.
Well, yeah, nobody's doing that. I don't think anybody would do that. But at the same time, say, like, that's reckless and irresponsible, and we're giving up assets and we're signing Reddick to some funny money cap deal.
Well, you started your sentence with, are we just going to reward guys for production? Yeah, welcome to the NFL. They get rewarded all the time. That's how it works. The Cardinals have no consistent edge threat to hang their hat on when they play legitimate playoff caliber teams. I believe they can scheme up ways to beat the Seahawks defensively and the Patriots and the Panthers and maybe the Chargers in a down year. They have to play Matthew Stafford and Brock Purdy and Josh Allen, right? Jordan Love. You see Jordan Love over the weekend? Are you beating those guys with Dennis Gardeck alone and Zaven Collins alone off the edge? Maybe.
They've got 9 other teammates playing defense too. And, I think what everybody would agree is some bright minds on the defensive side of the football.
I don't disagree with you. I am only presenting the opportunity that this is a unique situation and that the Cardinals, it would be in their best interest to explore. I don't have it sourced that they've explored it. I put out feelers. I would imagine they're doing their due diligence. But I'm going to tell you right now, and I think this is somewhat telling, and you can tell me if I'm completely off my rocker, because I know you will. The Cardinals did not add a pass rusher over the weekend. They cut the pass rusher they added last week. They worked out Carl Lawson last week. So they know they have a need. They have an open roster spot, do they not? They worked out today.
Yeah. I think, reportedly they made a signing.
Okay. They worked out today a bunch of running backs and receivers and supposedly signed a running back. But they know that pass rush need exists. Maybe they're just not happy and content with what they see in the free agent market. And maybe they feel like, you know what? We're going to be able to get a trade done with one of these two teams we're going to talk about and ship them a player back. Because I do believe that the New York Jets would have to get an NFL player back in this deal. I don't think you could ship the Jets just draft picks.
So you want to give up an NFL ready player?
Yep.
Draft capital, and then a multi-year extension. Where Haason Reddick wants to make $26 million a year?
Is that Damon laughing behind the camera? Damon, did I hear you just laugh behind the camera?
I don't know, but he hold on before you jump to conclusions here. I don't know which side of this he was laughing at. So we'll let him.
I think we know.
No, I don't.
I'm laughing at Johnny's definition of an NFL ready player is what I'm laughing at. I mean, once you guys figure out who this player is, you guys are going to be like, all right, Johnny, let's be real here for a second.
And I am willing to be coaxed off of the player I included in the deal for another player. But before I do that, I want Bo to speak his piece with this. Have you said all that you wanted to say?
Yeah, I mean, this we're going to continue our conversation for sure.
We are.
Yeah, okay. I want to see this deal. I want to see this trade package.
So let me preface this by saying that, again, I think you would have to help the Jets save face and add a pass rusher back to the New York Jets. I think the Jets.
No,
I think the Jets. I think no, I didn't. I think the Jets, in my opinion, cannot, after losing Bryce Huff and they let a couple different guys go this offseason, you'd have to tell their fan base, listen, we're going to get a guy who was once thought of as a promising prospect in the building. Here's my draft proposal.
All right. I thought you were going to go with Dennis Gardeck in here.
No,
okay.
I almost did. But this makes more sense. Let me walk everybody through this.
Dennis Gardeck is better at football.
Oh, but here's the difference. You could sell the Jets, who are not well run. They aren't very smart. Cameron Thomas was a productive player under Vance Joseph. There's been a scheme transition that he doesn't fit. He needs a fresh start. He's got 2 years left on a rookie deal. He was a top 100 prospect. He had a touchdown in the opening game last year. You can polish that up and sell it to Joe Douglas. On top of, let's kick a fourth that could become a conditional third, but let's start with a fourth, and let's do a sixth rounder in 2025. In exchange, we're going to help you save face. Go trout Cameron Thomas in a couple preseason games. Here's a couple day 3 picks that can make you feel better, and you move on. Because I'm going to tell you right now, based on that statement today, I do not believe you can remedy this situation between Haason Reddick and Joe Douglas and the Jets. The Jets are digging their heels in. This is Monti Ossenfort doing a couple different things. First of all, if he wants to trade a third rounder, he's earned that right. But then also, Cameron Thomas, a lot of us believe, may not make this roster. He wasn't a Monti Ossenfort draft pick. He is not a factor in this pass rush group, respectfully. Poor guy was played all Saturday night, was maybe showcased. But you could substitute a Victor Dumakagi in that group. You could substitute a Jesse Luketa. Or if you wanted to put Gardeck in that group, you could. But I don't know, from a locker room and a morale standpoint, you could do that. So that's my trade proposal to the New York Jets.
The New York Jets are in damage control mode. And in no way are they pulling the trigger on this deal. It is an absolute catastrophic net loss for them to take a fourth and a sixth and a player that was going to be cut anyway. Like, they're not going to do it. I would bet that they are willing to just dig in and let Haason Reddick and his representation just get fined and not play.
They did with Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah. Was it the Jets that did that?
Yeah.
Or was it?
Of course it was. Of course.
They're willing to, for pride reasons, just sit there and eat it. They really are.
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to look weak in this situation. They already look dumb. They already look weak. No, they look dumb, and they're not going to look like they're not going to be weakened by a player that even hasn't played it down for them yet.
I mean, for them, you got to be thinking about, okay, if this player sits out, and even if he comes back like mid-season, like what does that do for us, right? This relationship is broken. It's fundamentally broken.
Right.
And all these people that are associated with the Jets now, you might as well try to get something back if you can salvage the season. Like, if you're the New York Jets, it doesn't benefit you to dig your heels in and find him and then basically have him become a non-factor. Get something in return, because he has shown no indication. He's got Jordan Schultz working with his agent indirectly or directly right now, doing damage control. And I saw a lot of people after Schultz went on FS1 this afternoon and basically said, Reddick was lied to. This is a Jets problem. It makes the Jets look bad. I think the Jets have one of two options. They either extend him, which who the hell knows if that's even possible at this point, or they trade Haason Reddick. I do not envision, I could be totally wrong. We'd be sitting here in 6 weeks and he'll have not played, through the first quarter of the season or whatever it is, the first 2 weeks of the season. There's minimal chance that he sits out. I think they need resolution on this, and you can help them do that if you're Monti Ossenfort.
I don't think that they're going to be in the business of bailing teams out of the holes that they've dug themselves into.
I think this is a real estate deal going wrong.
Yeah.
And I think you swoop in and you get a steal.
I just don't think it's going to be viewed as a steal. I think it would be kind of overlooking some poor behavior that you don't want to kind of allow in your organization. Like, it happens all the time. I mean, it's happening in San Francisco, which is viewed as, the blueprint, the infrastructure to set up as far as drafting, developing players, and what's going on with Brandon Ayuk is something that is very ugly and it's become very public. And so is this, and you're not, I don't think any of the 32 teams, can kind of come off scot-free or exempt of this, right? It's going to happen eventually, especially when you draft really good players, which the Cardinals have done the last 2 years. But I don't think at this point, like, here, separate these two things. Do I think Haason Reddick is a productive NFL player when immediately help this pass rush? Yes, I do. But given all the variables that have gone into this saga, and it's not anything short of that, it is a no doubt about it, dramatic saga that's going on in New Jersey, and it moved up a little bit north from Philadelphia. Like, Haason Reddick is trying to get the one last bag in the NFL and is digging in until he does. And it's like, when you say, is he a me guy or is he a team guy? What are the actions of right now, just in this off season? What does it show Haason? We've seen, and to your point, we've seen him where he's a team guy. He was drafted from Temple. They switched his position. He did it willingly. And then as soon as they thought that he was a lost case, they said, you know what, you play your natural position. Let's see how it goes. He gets 12.5 sacks. He has a 4-sack game, 5-sack game against the Giants, and then parlays that into a contract with the Carolina Panthers, and then a bigger deal with the Philadelphia Eagles, and then becomes a star. Like, it's all well and good, but I think all the variables, there are a lot of red flags here. And I just don't know if the organization is willing to do that right now in August, when, the team knows that they've got a need there, but are they willing to go and kind of sell a little bit of their soul that they've created here to fix it?
Yeah, I know you don't think this, but I like taking playoff bursts for granted with this franchise. I think is a real thing. And I think that is what's happening. Now, he doesn't guarantee you a trip to the postseason, but he helps you exponentially. A guy who had 16 sacks for your head coach 2 years ago and 11 sacks last year on a dismal coach defense that had to switch coordinators. I mean, it was a complete and utter sham what happened in Philadelphia. And they nixed, we've talked about it, all the JG guys. I'm just taking it from the approach of the New York Jets traded for him. He's an impending free agent, right? They have both dug their heels in. If you're the New York Jets, you at some point you're going to have to sit back and say, well, we aren't signing this guy and he's not helping us. and we're going to take a net loss of a 3rd round pick, and he's never going to play it down for us. Like, I think the argument that you're making is a valid one, but I do think that the Jets are going to explore trading him. And I think the Cardinals, in my opinion, and I know everybody has a different timeline of what this rebuild is, but if you ask Jonathan Gannon, the expectation is postseason play this year. Mm-hmm. If you ask Kyler Murray, prolonged postseason play. I have watched the LA Rams and the San Francisco 49ers, and to a lesser extent, the Seattle Seahawks, make impact move after impact move, taking away players from dismal franchises, Trent Williams and Christian McCaffrey and Jalen Ramsey. And this doesn't even approach those kind of players in terms of what you would have to give up both financially and from a draft pick perspective. The Cardinals are in a unique position to take advantage of somebody else's mistakes. That's my only point in all this. Now, will they? I don't know. I have no idea. I put that out there today. I have no idea if Haason Ford would even consider this. I think, and I disagree with you, that it would be a mistake not to, because I think that the pass rush, if they miss the postseason this year, sans a Kyler Murray injury, is going to be the big reason why. Because they can't get opposing offenses off the field on 3rd down. You could make an argument outside of a Myles Garrett or a TJ Watt or a Nick Bosa, Haason Reddick is the best 3rd down pass rusher in the NFL and was completely unlocked under your head coach. So again, like I feel like everybody is very much like, in my opinion, prisoner of the moment. We're in August. The rookies look great. This team's got a lot of good vibes. If we fast forward to early October and this team starts slow and they can't rush the passer and the postseason is already hanging in the balance, you can't, start 3 or 4 games under 500. Mm-hmm. Everybody in this chat would have signed up for a 3rd or 4th round pick for Haason Reddick. So I'm just trying to play hindsight of where this team could be with a player of his caliber reinserted in their lineup. And again, I thought they could have used a pass rusher before the Ojulari injury, right? And there is clearly, based on their actions, until the final cut downs and who knows who's even going to be available, we don't know who's like the free agent market is what it is. It's, I like Victor Dumakaji, if he's cut tomorrow, would probably get workouts and be a viable free agent for teams to sign. Like, the only way you get better, in my opinion, at edge rusher right now is you go and you get a Haason Reddick or Matthew Judon.
I want to try an exercise here. Okay. Who is the main edge rusher guy off the edge for the Kansas City Chiefs?
Don't do that. We're going to compare where the Cardinals are with the Chiefs are.
And look, and I know this is on the fly. This is nothing like we were prepared for. If you can chime in and say, hey, this guy is...
Was it Karlaftis?
That's what I was going to say.
It's Karloff, rotational guy, right? Not a star.
They have the best defensive lineman in the... If Darius Robinson is Chris Jones, right? But he's not right now.
But
hold on.
You raised the talent level.
What did the Chiefs do before Chris Jones became Chris Jones? What did they do? Does anybody know?
That was
Ford.
They traded for a pass rusher out of Seattle that helped them win a Super Bowl.
The Buffalo Bills, they won the AFC East. Who's their primary pass rusher? Is he a star? Is it Gregory Rousseau?
They had Ed Oliver's already solidified.
Gregory Rousseau, we've gone over this, 6.5 sacks?
Yeah. He's decent.
I'm just looking at him. Then there's teams that will make your point, like Houston's defense was transformed by an improved edge. Let's see who else is there. Detroit, they've got a great bunch of edge rushers, outside linebackers. Aiden Hutchinson, he's certainly helped them out.
I mean, the Chiefs literally
who was coming off last year
to help them win a Super Bowl.
Who was coming off the edge last year for the Los Angeles Rams?
No, I'm not going to do this game with you.
Won 10 games.
You're naming teams that have a potential impact 3 or 5 technique that is already blossomed, fully baked. I love Darius Robinson. He hasn't played an NFL game yet. Justin Jones has a seat. Like, if those guys were premier interior pass rushers, you could wait.
Here's my point. And Ozzie, Aaron Donald, yes, but Aaron Donald also was he was very good last year. He wasn't Aaron AD that we watched for his entire career, who was a dominant force. But like my point is he was able to make that defense viable. It could get off the field. Like the Arizona Cardinals upgraded their defensive line this offseason.
They did, no doubt.
It wasn't just Darius Robinson, Justin Jones, Bilal Nichols, Damon's guy, Roy Lopez found, he's going to be a piece of that. Dante Stills emerged as a 6th rounder last year. You've got a really intriguing, what could potentially be solid defensive line group. And then kind of in the status quo coming back without B.J. Ojularian's 4 sacks. You've got Dennis Gardeck, Zaven Collins, Dumakaji, add XT to that, Xavier Thomas, and a much better defensive back collection of defensive backs too. Like to say this defense can't get stops without an edge rusher, I think that's a bit too much. I think that's a bit overblown.
I think you could make your case when Ojulari was healthy because you could say promise, just like you're making claims about promise, which are correct, DT and cornerback. This pass rush group is worse than last year. And this pass rush group, in terms of pure edge rushers, wins 7 games with 1 sack. Like, we know what Dennis Gardeck and Victor Dumakaji and Jesse Luketa are, and they're doubling down on Zaven Collins, the person, and I'm okay with that.
We know what they are with you and I playing defensive line.
Listen,
with
it's going to be improved.
Darius Robinson and Bilal Nichols, maybe they can be a little bit more productive.
You sound like if the Cardinals are going to talk themselves into it, this is what they're going to say. We've done some upgrades on the interior. We used a 1st round pick on a monster. We can get there. The problem is, while you're waiting to get there, you play the Buffalo Bills and the LA Rams and the Green Bay Packers and Justin Herbert, and you 8 teams to start the year is a gauntlet. Go look at the schedule.
Right.
Like, you need a premier pass rusher, somebody to help you get stops the first half of the season. You can make an argument. Second half, if it was reversed, you can wait and take your time. There's a lot of Carolina. There's a lot of horse shit, right? There's a lot of New England. You play the Seahawks twice. You can scheme up wins. You want to be viable around Halloween. You need to keep this puppy around 500. Can you get to 500 with a defense that's sporting edge rushers that average about 3.5 sacks a year? My argument is no. My argument is you need to make a trade. So pivoting off of Reddick momentarily, because today was the NFL day that keeps on giving with this position group. This is from our friend Jeremy Fowler, friend of the program. We're pivoting from the Gannon's infrastructure inner circle. Let's go Monti Ossenfort. Jeremy Fowler, this is real. Multiple teams have inquired about trading for pass rusher Matthew Judon amid his contract stalemate with the Patriots. Per sources, Judon is due $6.5 million in his final year. New England made an offer to Judon this summer, which Judon did not accept. Does this do anything for you, good or bad, Bo Brock, as it relates to a player that at least is showing up and a player that, unlike the Jets, maybe they'd be more willing to trade given the fact that New England is in full-blown rebuild mode?
Yeah, I'm a little bit more apt to pull the trigger on this deal just because of how, Judon has practiced this training camp. His representation is willing to play ball, and it hasn't drawn such a hard line in the sand. But it also comes down to, does he need, is it contingent on him signing a contract extension?
I would say yes. I would say absolutely.
So if that's the case at 32 years old, probably not a move that the Cardinals would make.
I mean, like, I know he had the injury, but he was kind of peaking at like this kind of older age a little bit more so. Like his best seasons that he had were at, I don't know, 29 years old, 15 and a half sacks. Wow. So he got hurt last year, but like his last full season was his best season he had in the NFL.
I mean, at some point, this franchise with this new leadership has to become comfortable paying the going rate for an edge rusher.
Sure.
And again, they've had 2 free agency periods. They've struck out on both. And maybe they didn't even take a plate appearance, but they didn't pursue anybody publicly. And they didn't add a premium player in the draft this year at the position. And last year, the kid, was injured in Ojulari, and they put too much on him, in my opinion, and now he's gone for the year with a blown out knee. So, like, is third time a charm? Are you going to go into free agency next year and say, yeah, we're actually okay with now paying the going rate for a pass rusher? Or are you going to say, we're going to sit back and hopefully the draft falls to, that's just not, in my opinion. There are some position groups you can do that with. The Cardinals, we think, found a diamond in the rough atop the fourth round at safety. Looks fantastic in Rabbit, right? You can do that with some position groups. You can't really do that with left tackle and quarterback and edge rusher, in my opinion. And maybe Ossenfort has to find that out the hard way. But right now, like, for the Arizona Cardinals, with the expectation, with this 53-man roster, there's enough here, in my opinion, to get you to the postseason. Sans a pass rusher. Sans a guy off the edge. So you want to roll the dice and say, we can scheme it up. We can get pressure we need from the interior. They're right now, they're telling you, yeah, that's the route we're going to take. I happen to feel like that's a mistake.
I think you use the phrase prisoner of the moment. I don't think this organization will ever be guilty of really being prisoner of the moment. And even though they're backed into a corner personnel wise, and sure, they're going to have to learn to obviously make tough decisions and pay up in the form of large cap dollars to talented players at premium positions to fill a need. But I think as we sit here on August 12th, the options to upgrade at pass rusher are just not that appealing, and not the grocery store that Monti Ossenfort's going to shop at. He's just not. I think that he's going to continue to ride this out, monitor the market. And if the Arizona Cardinals prove to be one single pass rusher away, maybe he gets aggressive before the trade deadline, and it's a very different landscape between now and then, and pulls the trigger then.
We got so much good stuff in the show.
Chat's killing it, by the way.
Yeah, we've got 10 plus super chats. We got Baldy right around the corner. And Bo and I are going to argue some more. But first, we're not going to argue about this. Our friends at Bet365. I was on the app Saturday, as were many, and unfortunately did not hit my bet as it relates to the Arizona Cardinals money line and the over. But I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't matter, because I got a bunch of bonus bets to now play around with, and you can too. Our newest partner, or one of them, and one of my favorites, frankly, Bet365, using the bonus code PHNX365, 90 million users worldwide. The premier betting app, NBA, NFL, NHL, Major League Baseball, live in-game betting landscape, a ton of MLB action going on right now. Jump in and make the most of it, because right now, create an account. Right now, everybody go to your mobile phone, smart device, whatever you've got, maybe on your desktop computer. Download the app today. Use the bonus code PHNX365 upon sign up. Deposit just $10. You're going to get $150 in bonus bets instantly after you place a bet of $5 or more. Or if you're looking to go a little bit bigger, I know a lot of people have been dabbling with this. Your first bet offer can be up to $1,000. And if your qualifying bet loses, you're going to receive a match refund in bonus bets. So again, $5 get you $150 in bonus bets, or you can place up to a $1,000 bet and you're going to get bonus bets back if that bet loses. But you got to dabble with our friends at Bet365. You got to use the bonus code PHNX365. Download the app today, choose your offer, and find out why it's never ordinary betting with Bet365. And again, we're in betting season right now, friends. Same game parlays are off the chain. We've got postseason baseball on the horizon. NBA action is back in October. And of course, the sweet, sweet sound of NFL football, dabbling and gambling with payouts aplenty, starts this fall. You got to be 21 years and older and physically located here in the great state of Arizona. If you were someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov, Bo, for more information.
The vibes are an all-time high here at PHNX Sports because we have a new vehicle partner. It's Sanderson Ford, and the vibes on the show are even higher because Sanderson Ford is hooking us up to test drive a few of their cars. I'm going to get myself behind the wheel of the Ford F-150 XT. Our guy Damon, he's going to look styling when he's cruising in his Ford Bronco Big Bend.
Valley needs to watch out, man.
They do. Look out, because Damon Dawg is going to be cruising down the I-10 in his Bronco Big Bend.
Road.
Yeah, that's right. Go check out their entire 65-acre facility making it the large dealership in the nation. And this is where they really you can see the difference, the Sanderson Ford difference. There's the no hassle, no pressure, no nonsense sales approach. They're going to get you in, and they're going to get you in the vehicle that you're going to love. You can get in 0% financing right now for 36 months with no payments for 90 days on the Ford F-150, the Escape, the Edge, the Explorer, and the Expedition. Or you also can take advantage of the Sanderson Ford sales event, the summer sales event. It's here, teaming up with the boys of summer, the Snakes. They're so hot, hotter than 1,000 suns, for their final playoff push sale. Purchase a lease any new Ford and get Ford tickets for you and your family to see the D-backs. Push for the playoffs. You get 0% for 36 months OAC from Ford Credit. See dealer for details.
So much good stuff, including our friends. Well, your friends, my friends, all of our friends at GoPHNX.com. Shop the number 18 collection now. I'm repping it. You can get this shirt for free, which I, full transparency, believe it's the best shirt we've ever done. The MHJ number 18. How about the Maserati Marv tee? And of course, little PHNX Cardinals math for you. 1 + 18 = 6. We'll be able to see that in action soon enough. Again, all of this can be yours. 20% off all future orders, by the way. If you become a diehard at GoPHNX.com, you become a diehard, you get a free t-shirt right now. Again, shop the number 18 collection. You may not be able to get a number 18 jersey yet, but you can sure as hell shop the number 18 collection. Become a diehard. Hold the line with the premier 18 collection here in the Valley. It was so great being out at training camp, seeing these fine tees, among others, PHNX Cardinal, PHNX Sports paraphernalia on display. But again, I'm biased. The MHJ celebratory touchdown t-shirt right front and center, the best shirt we've ever done at this company.
Cardinals had their preseason opener over the weekend, and with football season officially upon us, we had to get our guy Baldy back into the fold. Of course, our all-city NFL analyst. You can see him on a daily basis, the NFL Network. Brian Baldinger. Baldy, great to have you back, my man.
Man, Bo, Johnny, it's been a little while, but it sure feels good to be back and talking real football right here. And, talking about what lies ahead for your Arizona Cardinals. I'm all in right now.
I don't want to get too dramatic after one preseason game, but the Cardinals do have a lot of young players. Let's highlight the one that you've highlighted on your Twitter timeline, among other areas. Let's talk about Darius Robinson. Dating back to the draft season, we were championing for Darius pre and post him becoming an Arizona Cardinal, in large part because you felt like the floor in particular was very high. Like, people argue, does he have the ceiling of Johnny Newton, somebody you were very high on? Does he have the ceiling of some of these other interior defensive tackles? But I always felt like Baldy, he was going to be an effort player with power and agility that could come in and just raise the bar for this defensive line. Talk to us about what you saw out of the former Missouri standout.
Well, first of all, he's got real NFL size. I mean, I spent time with him at Von Miller's Sack Summit in Las Vegas this summer, and we'd communicated via text, but I'd never met him before until I talked to him there. He's got NFL size. He's got a big frame. If you want to support more weight on and play inside, he can do that. I mean, he's got that ability. Then, that's just the fact that, at the end of June in 112-degree heat, he's out there watching Max Crosby, Von Miller. He's trying to learn from some of these, Cam Jordan. I don't want to compare him to Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan has 124 sacks in his league. But he's got that type of body. He's got length. He's got a big frame. We watched him play basically the 3 technique in a bare front in part of his 10 snaps the other day. I think he's got real power, real NFL power. And so I just think you need guys that look like defense linemen, guys that have got size, length, height, like guys that can take up space and yet got their length to be able to use their hands, be able to shed blockers, all the things you got to be able to do to stop the run, and then to be able to affect the pass. I think because he's a well-conditioned athlete, I think you can get a high volume of snaps out of him, on Sundays right now.
He seems to be the perfect package. It's a total package. We talked to him on Monday, and, he's talking about how he's already watched the film unbelievable amount of time. He was watching on the sidelines because it was finally accessible to him. Like, it's not on the college level. Yeah. He's talking, what did he really like about his debut? He liked his hands. I mean, what could potentially limit somebody like this? As Johnny mentioned, the floor is very high, but what could potentially limit a player of his caliber in his work ethic?
Well, what you're talking about, Bo, is his approach. He's got a real professional approach. I mean, I don't think he's going to be an immature kid. I don't think he's going to, just do things off the field that are just get you in trouble. I don't think he's that kind of a kid. Now, he's young, so who knows? But, like, for the most part, I think he's very professional. I think he's got a professional approach. I think he knows that he's got to take care of his body. None of these rookies really know what 17 games feels like yet. So, you got to get through, a season and kind of feel it. But I feel like, they did their homework on this guy. Like, I thought they did their homework on a couple of guys last year. I think they're building this thing, like I've said a number of times, not to be a cliche, but brick by brick. And I feel like Darius is going to be one of those bricks that's going to be part of this turnaround that I think the Cardinals have a chance to succeed with.
It's weird because Cardinal fans in the past, we've had to wait on draft picks, sometimes upwards of 3 to 4 years to see whether or not a guy can play. And so there's been a lot of instant gratification with Monti Ossenfort's picks. That's why, when a guy like Isaiah Adams or Trey Benson or Tip Ryman maybe doesn't have the splash plays in their first preseason game, everybody's like, oh no, what's happening with these players that were drafted in the top 100? I want to talk to you about Isaiah Adams, who was thrust out there against what looked like, for the large majority of the game, the Saints starting defensive line. And he had a couple tough snaps. But what did you see out of 74 out of the University of Illinois that maybe will give Cardinal fans hope that, listen, this is a kid with a lot of physical traits. The jump from the Big Ten you're asking a lot for a guy that was a third-round pick for a reason.
Well, not just, he comes out of, Ontario, Canada. He's playing at a community college. He's playing small school. He jumps to the Big Ten, and he has a good season, good couple seasons.
Yeah.
But, what I saw was a guy that battled his butt off. I mean, Brian Breezy's a good player. And, he got beat a couple of times. But he also finished. He put Breezy on. I mean, if I just did a mano-a-mano look at Adams against Breezy, he battled him all game long when he was in there. And then whoever else was in there. Shepard is a good football player, been in this league a long time. He went up against him a number of plays. So, yeah, honestly, if I could coach him on a one bad snap against Breezy, I say just get off the ball.
Yeah.
Just get off. Just give yourself a little space. I did the same thing as a rookie in my first action. When I saw the play, I'm like, oh, yeah, I did the exact same thing against Big Hand Johnson, against the Chargers. You just remember these kind of things. Like, he'll learn from that. He'll get off the ball, give himself a little bit of room, be able to use his length on him. I would expect that, as soon as he saw that play, I don't think he needed to be told what to do. I think he kind of knew. So, I saw a guy that was pushing players, moving bodies, got his hands on guys in the run game and moved bodies. I thought it was a pretty promising start. And like I said, I think he played, in the 40s, probably 45 snaps, maybe a little bit more than that. But, he played a fair amount of snaps. And all at left guard where he was in Illinois. So, he looked like a rookie left guard that's got promise to me.
The unfortunate injury to B.J. Ojulari, who the Cardinals had high expectations for a second-year pass rusher at LSU, kind of amplified their need for pass rushers. And in, the game on Saturday, Jonathan Gannon today said Xavier Thomas, their 5th-round pick out of Clemson, jumped off the tape. What was your thoughts on the Clemson product?
He looks like the part. If they're going to play this 5-man front, bare front, outside linebackers, Xavier Collins, Thomas. You need guys that can scream off the edge, that can affect the quarterback. And he's got suddenness to him. He's got size, and he doesn't always, he's a rookie. Like, he doesn't always know where the ball is going. Sometimes he's going upfield really fast, and the ball's going by him. But he's going to see more the more that he plays. But I just think from his first varsity action standpoint, he looks like the part. And so, now it's about building the toolbox and seeing more and, just learning how to beat elite athletes at right tackle in this business or wherever he's lined up, left tackles. I just think there's a ton of potential right there with him.
You know, Baldy, I think where people are kind of putting the MO with this team, if they're going to have success in terms of, vying for a playoff spot is on the offense, right? It's got all the household names. But I look at this defense, and even after one preseason game, they tackle well. They're fundamentally sound. Like, is there a possibility, albeit after one preseason game, that we're sleeping on a Nick Rallis, Jonathan Gannon defense that is a year in with their scheme, and they've got a bunch of guys coming back, and maybe they don't have those household names, but they have a lot of players with characteristics of just knowing their role and following through with that.
Yeah. Well, look. When you're playing a lot of young players that they're going to play, you're probably going to make mistakes. Like, I'm a big fan of Taylor Demerson, right? Mm-hmm. Demerson Taylor. So he made a mistake in coverage the other day, and they got a big play over the top of him. But I also just saw him stick people, and just literally the play stopped when he hit him. That's what I saw from Texas Tech. I think he's a great prospect. But it's just a question right now of Nick putting together the group, because I think they're going to play a lot of players. I think there's going to be a lot of interchangeable parts here. But, it's a question of really communication is going to be important, going up against the teams in their division with elite offenses. You can't make mistakes on the back end. Their safeties are very experienced right here. I'm just looking at a rookie. But I think we've already saw that there's nothing vanilla about this defense. They're going to blitz. They're going to pressure. You saw the other night against the Saints. I mean, that's who they are. So, it's not like they're going to hold a lot back. But I think we saw last year they played really hard for Nick and for Jonathan. I expect them to continue to play hard. I think that's their identity right now. Then it's a question of, can you get off the field on third down? Can you play good red zone defense? And can you take the ball away? Yeah. Knowing that with a lot of young players you're going to play, you're probably going to give up some plays. But, they held – in those games that they won last year against Pittsburgh, against Philadelphia, they got really stout when they had to. And, they came up with some big wins against Dallas, 3 playoff teams. I think the seeds of how they want to play have been sown.
Yeah, Dadrian Taylor Demerson says he goes by Rabbit. We love it. He doesn't even go by his real first name. It's just Rabbit. And Johnny, actually, we're talking about that big play, the 58-yarder before the end of half. But my co-host pointed out, man, did he bounce back with 2 solid tackles in the red zone there? Seemed like a good head on his shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, his eyes were probably in the wrong place. Who knows, what he was looking at. But that happens. He was a half-field safety. They lined up and basically covered 2 shell almost every play. But those plays that he made coming out of the goal, coming out of the end zone and making hits like that, he covers a lot of ground. He's going to be a fun guy to watch develop, because I think he's going to learn from 2 really good safeties. And so I think he's going to have a chance to get on the field. Everybody is basically playing 3 safeties and certain packages in this league right now. I can see him getting on the field in that kind of a role right now.
Yeah, we trust Jonathan Gannon with defensive backs in particular. He's been known to be a little bit of a kingmaker. What about the quarterback position? Clayton Tune versus Desmond Ridder for QB2. Pretty uneventful night Saturday for Desmond Ridder, who I think they would like for him to win the job. But then you've got Clayton Tune, Baldy, coming in, guns a-blazing, really with nothing to lose in the second half, looking much more efficient after year 1 as a rookie with the Arizona Cardinals. How do you make up this battle for QB2?
Well, I mean, look, Desmond had all kinds of opportunities in Atlanta. He could not make it work. Played a lot of football at Cincinnati. We know his background. But he played himself out of a job. And look, Raheem Morris said, if we had better quarterback play, I wouldn't be here in Atlanta. And that's just a fact. So, he's trying to resurrect his career. So I think you're going to get the best out of him. I think it's a good system right there that they have. They can use him. He's a very good runner with the football. But he's got to make better decisions. Clayton is a guy that honestly can play himself into a job. I think this thing is a long ways from being decided. It's important. Who knows how many quarterbacks they're going to keep? I would think that with Kyler's history, you probably want to keep 3. But who knows? I mean, you can dress 3 right now. But it just depends on, the numbers game for Monty's going to play at the end. But it's important. It's an important position. You always want one play away. So I feel like Clayton can certainly play himself into a position right now.
Last question. We'll stick with the quarterback theme here. Kyler Murray is not going to play at all this preseason. We saw 3 snaps from Marvin Harrison Jr. Big joint practices coming up this week in Indianapolis between the Colts and the Cardinals. How can Kyler and Marvin Harrison Jr. get on the same page between now and the season opener in Buffalo without Kyler playing?
Well, these scrimmages are important. They really are. I mean, it's really what teams are going to right now. I was at one last week, the Jets in Washington, and just watching Jaden Daniels play. He played better in the game than he did in the scrimmage, which is a good sign for Jaden. But, you know, they played in a downpour the whole day, wet ball, wet conditions, all that kind of stuff. This is where it's going. You got to get your reps in against a really good defense in Indianapolis. They play really hard. You're going to see an elite pass rusher in Latu. You're going to see an elite corner, some really good safeties, great linebackers in Indianapolis. So it's a good test. It's a good test. You'll see, you know, Reggie Wayne will be coaching the receivers on the other side. I'm sure he'll have certain things to say. You know, to Marvin, he probably knew him when he was a little kid. So I'm sure that will be good for Marvin to see Reggie right there in that role that he has now.
We get smarter every week, and I'm fired up, Baldy. Real tangible football to talk about here every week. Yeah. PHNX Cardinals, our NFL analyst, insider, Brian Baldinger. Baldy, hope to talk with you soon.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it next week, guys. Take care, man. Good to join you.
No one better than our guy Baldy of ALLCITY NFL. And yeah, I just feel like I get an education every time I talk to that man, Bo Brock.
Yeah, he breaks it down for dum-dums like myself and yourself. We can understand what's on the tape, and it's encouraging. Like I was talking to Damon. Damon brought it. He's like PFF ratings, the film. It backs up, you know, what our eyes saw on Friday night, and you know, from Darius Robinson to XT to Rabbit Taylor Demerson to Baldy maybe giving us a little relief as far as the third-round pick Isaiah Adams and saying how hard he battled throughout that contest makes us feel a little bit better.
I'll tell you what makes me feel better. Upgrading my financial acumen with our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union, the official credit union of the Arizona Cardinals, PHNX Sports, and the Venerable household. That's because for more than 84 years, gentlemen and ladies, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicating and creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community and really providing financial solutions that make lives better. I have since ditched my old credit union. It's the best financial decision I have ever made. And again, if you're thinking like, Johnny, I have a checking account. Okay, what about a savings account? What about mortgages? Mortgage rates just dropped. You want an education on if they could drop further, if this is the right time to finance, maybe refinance? Chat with Desert Financial and their teams of experts. They've got loans, credit cards, investment options, and more. Plus, if you're an Arizona sports fan, no better place to do your banking than with our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union. Represent the Red Sea with the Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card. I have it. I get compliments on it constantly. I'm rocking it. My purchases, my smart purchases with Desert Financial Credit Union. Show your team spirit. Open up a free checking account online. Get an Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card. Go to desertfinancial.com/Cardinals, Bo, to get started.
We're hitting the road to Indy tomorrow so we can join the Arizona Cardinals for their joint practices on Wednesday and Thursday. That means tonight I'm loading up on snacks, going to America's Thrift Shop at Circle K. Also going to top off my gas tank as well. Make sure I'm good to go. So once I'm back here in Phoenix, just drive right home, you know, because I'll be excited to get home to the fam. But of course, Polar Pops, Frosters, 79 cents until September 3rd. Of course, that's exclusive deal for our Inner Circle members and also exclusive to the Inner Circle members, which is a free membership program. You can save on gas immediately. How about 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups by becoming a member of the Inner Circle? How about 3 cents every gallon after that? And then you can hit a certain echelon like Johnny, like me, like Damon, where you're getting 5 cents off per gallon on every gallon of gas from Circle K. Enjoy your member exclusive beverage deal and also enjoy the cheap gas prices by joining the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for all the details.
When I hear from JG and Darius, Bo, you were at Tempe facility with the Cardinals today, but we got to get some of these super chats. You guys are super generous today. Start with our guy or gal, Potato Bread, $4.99. Happy Monday, guys. Haason has officially asked for a trade. Where's the move, Monty? Or what's the move, Monty? I should say. Yeah. Great question. Is there a move to be made? I think we both agree there should be, but I think Bo and I disagree on what that level of move and maybe sense of urgency should be as well.
Yeah. Cardi D, $2. XT is going to be a flamethrower off the edge. Already showed a little bit of heat coming off the edge for the Arizona Cardinals in their preseason opener. You'll hear from Gannon backing up some of the comments he made on Saturday night post-game.
Merv, our guy, $5. How about this? This one's for Damon. Let it be known the Cards' highest-rated defensive player this past Saturday was not Starling Thomas, but instead was Roy Lopez with an 89.7 PFF grade. The local product, Damon Dawg, showing out on Saturday in front of the capacity crowd at State Farm Stadium.
How you put on for your city. It's how you put on for your state, Johnny. You said it. Hometown hero, Roy Lopez, stand up.
Rolo. Everybody loves Rolo on this show. That's for sure. Even the Damon Dawg.
Jonathan Gannon loves Rolo.
You know,
we'll get into that later.
Yeah. I'm not hyped from that. Jared Reese, $10. Very generous. Thank you, Jared. Sensible Bo is now Hater Bo. I know we want to draft and develop team, but only one pick from 21 or 22 to pay. You have to spend $33 million this year, $82 million next year, and $122 million following year.
Jared, you're a smart guy. You're a smart guy, Jared. Here, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Bo. I think you would have been fine with a pass rush addition in free agency. I know you would have. We've talked about it.
Yeah.
You just don't like the optics of maybe parting with an asset now, whatever that may be, and paying a guy that another team doesn't want to pay right now. Is that fair?
That's part of it. And just how that guy has conducted himself throughout this offseason.
Sure.
He's trying, two organizations haven't been able to figure out a way outside of completely caving to his demands. It's a red flag. It's a definite red flag. Even though Haason Reddick during his time here was a great player, a great teammate. It's unfortunate. Hold the Lopez. That's the new HCL of this show. Let's keep it going with these super chats.
Topic 64, friend of the program, yes. Our guy, $9.99. My guys, the tag team champs, JV and Bo B. That's right. We just need the belts now. Fanboy, pom-pom waving tag team champs are here, and we're not going anywhere.
Not sitting poolside. Let's see what else we got. We love topic 64, by the way. It was unfortunate. Couldn't connect at training camp. Wanted to. Always good place to see each other. Who else we got in this? Mike Sabo just giving us a $9.99. Is this a super sticker?
Yeah. Mike, you got a question in the chat. Let's put it up there.
Let's not panic. I agree with Brack. Let's not break what has been built here in AZ.
Listen, I love Ossenfort. I put out a tweet today. It's like his first 3 first-round picks compared to Keim's last 3. I mean, it's night and day. It was a horror show under Keim. I get it.
Money to Keim. Slapping around.
I want this team in this town to experience postseason football. And Illadre agrees with me. $199. If we add Reddick, it's a guaranteed playoffs. I think so. I think if you add a top 5 pass rusher, pure pass rusher in the NFL off the edge, this team is punching their ticket to January football. And this town deserves that. And again, if this is you're selling your soul for first round picks, like we talked about, the Vikings with JJ McCarthy pre-draft, hell no, I'm not doing that. But like every team in the NFL has a contract or 2 or 4 that they splurged on, that they probably don't love after a couple of years, but they suck it out because that you get instant return. And that's what Haason Reddick would be. You're telling me right now, okay, I'm gonna have you pick. Would you rather have a 3rd round pick a la Tip Ryman, or would you rather have Haason Reddick and then spend some of the $35 million that you have? I mean, just like, come on now, just say it out loud. Sometimes you just have to say the tough part out loud.
Yeah. Yeah. Way to cherry pick Tip Ryman out of the one of the 4 3rd round picks. Bleacher Report put out said Cardinals should make a play for Reddick. This is what they're proposing, Johnny. Cardinals receive Haason Reddick.
Okay.
The Jets receive, how about this? A conditional 2026 3rd round pick. So not even the next draft.
This is me saying done deal. Let's do it.
And we'll even toss in Cameron Thomas just because we're that generous.
Yeah, that guy, we're good.
It's called connecting the dots. Everybody sees the big picture here. You guys, just with your fan glasses, your fanboy glasses for Ossenfort, trying not to part ways with any sweet assets.
What else do we got? Illustrated. We already get this one.
We need
Loso, $2. Bring Reddick home.
That's right.
You know, it's crazy. Like Philly was basically home. Grew up in Camden, New Jersey, right across from Philadelphia. And then he's actually playing in his home state of New Jersey for the Jets, and he doesn't want to play there.
Yeah. Here's what people are failing to understand. The Cardinals stole money from Haason Reddick indirectly by butchering his development. So he's now going out and trying to recoup that money with his play, rightfully so. He has every right to be he's a hired mercenary for hire. Come in, do a job, get paid, kick ass. Like, not everybody needs to be, this guy's going to have a statue. This guy's putting his name on the rafters. Sometimes you just got to bring in a guy on it's a dirty deal. We're doing a dirty deal with Haason Reddick. Pay him big money, part with an asset, come in and do a fucking job. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if it's 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 12 against the Buffalo Bills week 1 and Josh Allen's got 10 seconds to throw and he's running around, people are going to be pissed. Nobody's going to be bitching about draft picks then.
What you're describing is either a hired gun or a prostitution, and it's neither one's good for us right now, Brian.
Sometimes you got to pay people under the table to do a dirty job, and that's what's happening with Haason Reddick. Everybody wants, the Boy Scouts to come in and take care of business, but sometimes you just gotta do things that you're uncomfortable with. You gotta
I have goosebumps right now.
Yeah.
This is a leader.
A leader of men. He does seem like he's running a campaign right now, and his whole emphasis, his number one talking point is the pass rush. Like that's the make or break. That's when you're looking at it, it's like foreign policy or what's your stance on this or that. That's what Johnny's platform is that the pass rush is weak, and the only way to victory is that you go and you trade for Haason Reddick and then give him a bag of money.
Yeah, I mean, like, you tell me what I mean. Like, the Navy. I don't know if you guys ever knew this. This is a famous thing that's come out.
Oh God!
During World War II, the Navy made a secret deal with the mob to protect their shorelines. Right? Sometimes you have to go under the table. You got to do some things you're not proud of to get the job done. And the job done right here is to get you to the postseason. The job right now is to get this defense off the field. Haason Reddick does that.
Johnny's an anti-hero. That's what he's trying to say.
Yeah. So if you want to make an omelet, you got to crack some eggs. That's basically what he's saying.
Not everybody can be Captain America. Sometimes sometimes it's got to get a little ugly, right? I just like, I don't want to do the hand holding. Like, oh, this guy doesn't, the locker room. Like Haason Reddick, some criminal? No, he just wants to get paid because he's a fucking elite pass rusher. Oh no, the locker room. If the locker room is going to be made or broken off of a guy getting money to come in and do a job, then the locker room's broken to begin with. The locker room.
Let's wrap up some of these super chats. Brian A. D-line is better. The corners are better. Also, coverage sacks. They can also stop the run better. Longer distance to go on 3rd down.
I mean, that will be true to some extent, but like, if your answer to how you're going to stop Matthew Stafford this year is coverage sacks against Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, I would rather take my chances with their tackle play. And we're going to ask Max Melton and Sean Murphy-Bunting to get you coverage sacks against the wide receivers in this division. Debo, Ayuk, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. No, let me go after these immobile QBs in the division and smoke somebody off the edge.
Make the pass rush great again. Bo's digested steak. We've got $4.99. Thank you so much. I don't know what that his avatar is. What's coming out of that toilet?
Yeah.
It is a couple sacks worth cancer in the locker room. Only Vance Joseph agrees with you, Johnny. Stop hating the rookies Hashtag LBC, let Bo cook. Oh, I like that hashtag.
It's one of the worst hashtags I've ever heard in my life.
Don't let it
I love the rookies. They're great. But I think it's irresponsible to say, save us, 5th rounder out of Clemson that never had double-digit sacks in the ACC, and he was in college for 6 years. Like, can we just be realistic? Have a plan. Darius Robinson is second string right now because they signed 2 defensive linemen that are starting capable, so they didn't put all their marbles on the 27th overall pick. And guess what? He's exceeding expectations. He's surprising people. And then you got people saying, "Oh yeah, we gotta insert a 5th rounder in the lineup," and we've got Dennis Gardeck, who we know what he is, and Zaven Collins had 3.5 sacks last year. It's like, come on, what are we doing?
Austin Romano is saying JV 2024 3rd rounder for a top 5 pass rusher.
It's the tax for a top 5 pass. Yeah, I mean, you get what you pay for in life. I happen to think
is Haason Reddick still a top 5 pass rusher?
Under Jonathan Gannon, I think so. I think you would get. He's not even 30. I think you could get 2 double-digit sack seasons, and then whatever he is in that third year.
Volatile the NFL is. Like, you can be 17.5 sacks one season, and then production starts to slide, and very rarely does it go back up.
I mean, like, we're talking about Everson Griffin getting big money this free agency period. Wasn't he like 31? I mean, like, can we just... Reddick is not done being a really good football player. He just wants to be compensated for it. I have no issue with that. No issue.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the head coach. Can we talk about the head coach for a second? Yeah. You had a chance to chat with him. I'm going to make Bo pivot off of this subject, even though, we could talk. We literally could do 5 hours of this show, Bo and I arguing on this situation. The Cardinals have a lot of good things going on.
Not what your pass rush can do for you, what you can do for your pass rush. It's beautiful.
Gannon was throwing out compliments today, and just happened to be the defensive line group was on full display.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what people were excited. Some of their takeaways from the other night was, let's take a look at, Gannon was talking about Darius Robinson, XT coming off the edge. We'll start with Jonathan Gannon talking about Xavier Thomas, the 5th rounder.
Yeah, he did. My thing in OTAs, and you never know what's going, you got to talk to people. I guess you never know what's going through somebody's head unless you ask them. Sometimes you don't get the truth all the time either when you ask them. But I just felt like he was early in OTAs and maybe even earlier in camp, trying to just kind of figure it out a little bit, Well, when you're trying to figure it out on the fly, when the ball snaps, sometimes your physical traits don't show up. So what I was impressed about with him is I let it rip, cut it loose, whatever that means. I thought he did that. So that tells me that he's comfortable, he's not thinking, and now it shows what he can do physically. And I think that jumped off the tape to me. Also, what jumped off the tape about him is he's doing what he's coached to do, which for a rookie sometimes is hard. There's guys that are making some good plays, hanging in with technique, and then all of a sudden you throw on a tape. It's like, what are you doing? Like, we don't coach that, And that's just part about being a young guy, you know what I mean? I'm going to try something new. No, you don't do that. You just keep doing what you're doing, you know what I mean? Seriously. And he did what he was being coached to do by Rob. Rob's done a good job with him to kind of own it in. Here's what you got to do. Here's what you need to execute. Mentally, I think he's taken steps, and the physical tool set, rush ability, edge setting, I thought showed up in the game. So the challenge to him will be the couple mistakes that he made, clean those up, because we can control that. And then, production, and do the same thing that you just did and see what happens then. But I was enthused about him. I was.
So jumped off the tape. I mean, just what he detailed there was a guy that is put in the work and was just going out there and playing. And you saw him, I think just in a short time he spent here with those organizations, as you mentioned, through OTAs, strengthened out of a fire hose like many rookies do, started to get down the defensive concepts and the calls, and was just able to go out there and like, as they always say, the cliche, pin your ears back and go out there and hit a ball carrier, get after a quarterback.
Yeah, like I was very encouraged with what I saw from him, because I at the time was like, yeah, that's that's a guy who, has he reached his ceiling? Like, have we seen the best of him? He was in college a long time, but maybe he's going to have an expedited learning process because he's seen so much college football, and maybe he's ready to play. Like we were talking about it a lot on draft weekend, not only with Xavier, but some of these other players, like really outside of Marv, who just turned 22. Like, a lot of these guys are older players, so they should be ready to come in and compete and participate and be rotational guys. So like, I am pro Xavier Thomas. I like what I saw. He was active. He was tackling well in the open field. I just, like, for this year alone, like, you got to give me more than that. But like,
yeah,
I mean, if you're asking me what I would rather have based on limited snaps, like Xavier Thomas and his potential, or a lot of these lingering Steve Keim guys, with all due respect, like, let me see a new position group with the Ossenfort, players. Obviously, Ojulari coming back from injury. You got Zaven, but like Gardeck and Jesse Luquette, I think, are free agents. Victor Dumakaji maybe has 1 year left. So you need to backfill. Why not backfill with some guys with some promise? The Cardinals need to get in a position, and I think they will now, because the bulk of the rebuild, in my opinion, is done. They are going to be taking edge rushers, defensive linemen every year. And it's just going to be a pipeline. So this is the start of that.
Yeah, you're right. Marv did turn 22. It was a lesson we all learned over the weekend.
I'm proud of us. I didn't do that on purpose.
Also, to wrap up some of the things that JG spoke about, he was very complimentary of Darius Robinson, but also another member of the Cardinals defensive line. Where you at, Rolo crew?
Yeah, if you had 90 Roys, you'd be good to go. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying we got a lot of good guys, but Roy, he keeps a good attitude. He's always working on his game. He's team first. He's willing to do whatever you tell him to do. He's got a smile on his face. Like, he's a phenomenal human being, and he enjoys coming to work, and he gets better at his game. So yeah, I'd love a bunch of Roys.
There he is.
I mean, like, the defensive tackle group is night and day better, and it showed. Like, the Saints didn't run all over the Cardinals on Saturday night, and the Cardinals were one of the worst run defensive teams last year. I thought Chris Barnes tackled really well. Owen Papa was maybe his best game ever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's by accident. I think it's a big byproduct of the Roy Lopez's, and Nichols and Justin Jones didn't play, but we talked about Darius Robinson. Like, the middle of this defense, which was a problem last year, is much better. Now, I do think this unit still has a ceiling because of what's happening on the edge, but you can't tell me that you're not fired up to watch this rotation now after it's gotten a year's worth of investments.
If it's just Rolo and that's it, and you got guys you've elevated on game day from the practice squad, you got issues. But if it's Rolo and, NFL caliber defensive lineman, like, it looks a lot different, and he can be a part of the solution, which is, like, good on him for turning himself into that type of player. I mean, we're not saying he's Aaron Donald, but, in this rotation, I think he's carved out a role for himself, and that's great. And, some of the stuff we say is tongue in cheek, but this is a guy that they picked up from Houston off waivers at the beginning of last season, and helped fill a need. And as they were able to invest in the position this offseason heavily in free agency and in the draft, still has a spot. So good for Roy Lopez.
I mean, LJ Collier, Roy Lopez, Dante Stills, who was maybe your best defensive lineman. He played a lot Saturday night. And then you've got Nichols, Jones, and Darius Robinson. Those are 6 very capable defensive tackles for this team. So I expect them to carry all 6. I think they're much more of a physical presence now up front, where, like, Darius Robinson, first play from scrimmage, makes a tackle like for a 2-yard gain, right? And Roy Lopez is, freeing up Darius to do those kind of things. He's the true nose that does the dirty work. And his statistics will never jump out. His statistics are going to come from maybe a PFF grade or from the head coach himself. So, if it's good enough for Gannon, it's good enough for me.
Yeah. Anything else you want to hear from him? We do have clips from D-Rob, but we can certainly get into it a little bit later. We get a whole week of shows. We're going to be off tomorrow to travel to Indianapolis, but then we'll be back live Wednesday post practice. So they're going to be playing 6 to 9 Eastern. So we should be live at some point after 6 o'clock here in AZ, both Wednesday and Thursday, and then normal show on Friday.
Let's get to these super chats. Kyler Plummer, $5. You guys are crushing it with the super chats. Oh, God. What lady of the night has gotten into JV? He's on fire today. Laugh out loud. That's highly inappropriate. Happily married, but I appreciate it. The passion's on full display. When that, notification came across my Twitter today that Reddick asked for a trade, did I feel somewhat justified? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now it takes two to tango. Let's see if we can get something done.
Yeah. Alberto E, $5. Thank you, Alberto. This is no time for caution. With wide receiver contracts going crazy, this might be our rookie contract window. Bring Reddick back.
Not only the window for Marv, your window for Paris, your window for Michael Wilson, right? They are paying no one. And then you think about it, James Conner off your books, Budda Baker off your books, right? I mean, just who are they extending? Froholt? Maybe Will Hernandez? Maybe Trey McBride? You either make the move for Reddick now and you sign somebody and you sign him now, or you make a move for somebody else in March after you just potentially wasted a year where you could have used someone. I'm never going to be of the mindset like the rebuild's still in progress, so don't trade a mid-rounder and pay somebody money. This is the NFL. Nobody, in my opinion, has the luxury of just sitting back and not spending money. The Patriots are trying to sign Brandon Ayuk to $34 million a year. And they are the worst, by and large, the worst roster in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the Arizona Cardinals, who Vegas just raised their over-under 7.5, and people are saying it doesn't fit the rebuild timeline. But the fuck it doesn't. Go out and get better. And just Ayuk, $34 million, but the Patriots are a 3-win team. But the Cardinals can't add a pass rusher and pay somebody? Come on, get out of here with that.
Now, hold on. It's more than just paying the guy. I mean, it's the precedent and what Reddick and his representation have set for themselves.
I believe it's a Jet issue. If it's a
Philly issue though,
what's that?
Was it an Eagle issue?
He got paid with the Eagles and did a job.
But he forced his way out of there, basically.
Did he? Or they wanted to move off of the game.
This was brewing before. This is what really made him expendable to them.
Can you not front load a contract?
If we're going to make the case like, hey, JG could be, the reunion is just what he needs. It's like, well, like he was wearing the same uniform he was wearing in 2022 when he racked up 17.5 sacks.
Like, I'm sorry that Haason Reddick continues to perform at a high level and wants to get paid for it. Guess what? Trent Williams is doing that right now. And guess what the Niners are going to do? Pay him again after he just sat out all of his preseason because they have to, because they have no other option. Like, you think the Jets have an option they're going to lean back on? No. Like, but they're not, for whatever reason, the Jets are going to jet. Like the Eagles, at least, were like, we're going to go out and get pass rushers. We're going to pivot. We're going to do this, this, and this. We're going to have guys that Fangio wants. But like, if you're the Cardinals, it's just, who are you to not explore this, I guess?
Any more? If we got one last super chat, Johnny, you want to read it?
No, I don't. Josh, 199. Thank you so much, Josh. We appreciate that. It's highly inappropriate. This show, man. This is an emotional day.
Out of pocket. Yeah. A little out of pocket.
Here's Chad.
It wasn't even the worst thing I've seen, though. Did you see Dan Orlovsky's rankings on best rushing quarterbacks?
Yeah, and I'm just done with rankings, I think. I'm done with
like it had to be strategic to incite outrage. There's no universe that anybody lives in where Joe Burrow is a better running quarterback than Kyler Murray.
And Kyler wasn't on any of the passing ranking. I'm done with rankings. I can't do it. They got us through the offseason. The games have started now. Like, annoy who you want. And like, that's part of this too, is like, we're staunch Kyler Murray supporters. I think he's going to have his best year ever. I want him to have an opportunity to, amend what happened in 2021. I was at SoFi Stadium when Kyler had a bad game against Rams. I want him to have an opportunity. Baker Mayfield had that opportunity last year. Jared Goff with you can have a redemption. I want Haason Reddick helps Kyler Murray. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, Kyler Murray can't do it by himself. Offensively, he can carry the load, but this team, if they can't stop anybody, that doesn't matter, right? So I know I keep tying everything back into the pass rush, but
yeah, I mean, it's your number one thing on your political platform. It's what you're running on.
My number one policy.
Yeah. Chaz 199. Howdy, my fave cards gangsters.
What up,
Smoking
gangster?
Emoji sunglasses guy. I like that. What's up, Chaz?
This show has gone off the rails in the best possible way. We got 600 people watching this live. Like the show here on the YouTube. Subscribe to PHNX Sports. Subscribe, everybody. Grab your mobile device right now. Lock it in. PHNX Cardinals podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, right? Be so inclined. Leave us a 5-star review. As Bo mentioned, Damon, Dawg, Bo Brack, they're en route to Indy tomorrow. Now, if there is breaking news, we will cover it on this fine program, whether it be myself with Craig Morgan or whomever, Bo Brack or Damon, live from the airport. We will get you the coverage that we always do here. But make sure, hit that like button. We are back on Wednesday, sometime in the evening post-practice. That's why it's so important when you're subscribed here to PHNX Sports here on YouTube, you ring that bell notification so you are notified every time we go live. We will put out communications throughout the evening to let you guys know when practice is wrapped and we are ready to go rock and roll. Because again, I mean, it's a big litmus test, Bo, for this team against a Colts team that won 9 games last year.
Yeah, I mean, they're locking in for what Jonathan Gannon calls 2 souped-up days of practice. Like they think that this is going to be probably the biggest moment and opportunity to get better during training camp preseason, and it's going to happen over this 2-day stretch. And then it's almost like the game on Saturday is a bit of an afterthought, but they are so locked in as far as what's going to transpire Wednesday and Thursday night under the lights in Indy. And we're going to have all the coverage for you. Make sure you're locked in to become a diehard. That's where you get nonstop exclusive coverage from Indianapolis coming from Damon and myself. So go sign up today. Don't delay. Become a diehard. Go phnx.com. You can get the full workings of Craig Morgan, who's churning out great content after great content on a daily basis at gophnx.com. Plus our other beat writers, Gerald Bourget, Jesse from D-Backs, and then some. Don't miss out on any of the action any longer. Become a diehard. Hit that like button for Johnny Venerable, Damon, Dawg. I'm Bo Brack. We'll talk to you on Wednesday, barring any breaking news on PHNX Cardinals.
We all silly like the mayor.